of the lowly and poor ones of the nation. PS 72. 1, 2, 14. Christ Jesus' role as ransomer. The foregoing information lays the basis for understanding the ransom provided for humankind through God's Son, Christ Jesus. Mankind's need for a ransom came about through the rebellion in Eden. Adam sold himself to do evil for the selfish pleasure of keeping continued company with his wife, now a sinful transgressor, so he shared the same condemned standing with her before God. He thereby sold himself and his descendants into slavery to sin and to death, the price that God's justice required. Row 5. 12-19. Compare 07. 14-25. Having possessed human perfection, Adam lost this valuable possession for himself and all his offspring. The Lord, which is a shadow of the good things to come, provided for animal sacrifices as a covering for sin. This, however, was only a symbolic or token covering, since such animals were inferior to man. Hence, it was not possible for the blood of bulls and of goats actually to take sins away, as the Apostle points out. Heb 10. 1-4 Those pictorial animal sacrifices had to be without blemish, perfect specimens. La 22. 21 The real ransom sacrifice, a human actually capable of removing sins, must therefore also be perfect, free from blemish. He would have to correspond to the perfect Adam and possess human perfection, if he were to pay the price of redemption that would release Adam's offspring. O textoi acute miritra longo. Ransom 736 Sharer of blood and flesh, he was a near kinsman of mankind and he had a thing of value, his own perfect life maintained pure through tests of integrity, with which to repurchase mankind, emancipate them. Heb 2. 14, 15. The Christian Greek scriptures make clear that the release from sin and death is indeed by the paying of a price. Christians are said to be bought with a price. 1 Co 6. 20. 7. 23. Having an owner that bought them. 2 Pe 2. 1. And Jesus is presented as the Lamb who was slaughtered and with his blood bought persons for God out of every tribe, tongue, and nation. Re 5. 9 In these texts the verb a_go_razo is used, meaning simply buy at the market a_go_ra. The related d_go_razo release by purchase is used by Paul in showing that Christ released by purchase those under law through his death on the stake. 4. 5. 3. 13 But the thought of redemption or ransoming is more frequently and more fully expressed by the Greek litron and related terms. Litron from the verb lio, meaning loose, was especially used by Greek writers to refer to a price paid to ransom prisoners of war or to release those in slavery. Compare Heb 11. 35. In its two scriptural occurrences it describes Christ's giving his soul a ransom in exchange for many. Mount 20. 28. Mr. 10. 45 The related word and middle.tron appears at 1 Timothy 2. 6. Parkhurst's Greek and English lexicon to the New Testament says it means a ransom, price of redemption, or rather a correspondent ransom. He quotes Hyperius as saying, it properly signifies a price by which captives are redeemed from the enemy, and that kind of exchange in which the life of one is redeemed by the life of another. He concludes by saying, so Aristotle uses the verb and middle.tro for redeeming life by life. London, 1845, p. 47 Thus Christ gave himself a corresponding ransom for all. 1 T2. 5, 6 Of the related words are li middle.my, loose by ransom T2. 14. 1 P1. 18, 19, and a middle.cis, a releasing by ransom. F1. 7, 14. Col 1. 14 The similarity of the usage of these words with that of the Hebrew terms considered is evident. They describe, not an ordinary purchase or releasing, but a redeeming or ransoming, a deliverance effected by payment of a corresponding price. Though available to all, Christ's ransom sacrifice is not accepted by all, and the wrath of God remains upon those not accepting it, as it also comes upon those who first accept and then turn away from that provision. Job 3. 36. Heb 10. 26-29. Contrast row 5. 9, 10. They gain no deliverance from the enslavement to king's sin and death. Row 5. 21. Under the law the deliberate murderer could not be ransomed. Adam, by his willful course, brought death on all mankind, hence was a murderer. Row 5. 12. Thus, the sacrificed life of Jesus is not acceptable to God as a ransom for the sinner Adam. But God is pleased to approve the application of the ransom to redeem those of Adam's offspring who avail themselves of such a release. As Paul states, as through the disobedience of the one man many were constituted sinners, likewise also through the obedience of the one person many will be constituted righteous. Row 5. 18, 19. At the time of Adam's sin and his being sentenced to death, his offspring or race were all unborn in his loins and so all died with him. Compare Heb 7. 4-10.